This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send us an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, and all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And you can check out the website for our radio show at www.xzoneradiotv.com. And to find out what programming we have available to you 24/7, 365 on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, as well as the other great hosts that we have on www.xzbn.net. My guest this hour is Brooks Agnew. He grew up in Pasadena, California, hanging around JPL, and entered the Air Force at the age of 17. He is an industry-changing engineer with breakthrough patents in clean energy, polymer chemistry, and electric automobile design. He is an honor graduate from Tennessee Technological University in chemistry, with advanced degrees in statistics and physics. He is currently the CEO of an electric truck manufacturing company in North Carolina. He is also an internationally acclaimed public speaker, a 7-time Amazon best-selling author, and the host of X Squared Radio for 13 years, that podcast each and every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Here's the website to remember, X-Zone Nation, www.xsquaredradio.com. And joining me now is Brooks Agnew. And Brooks, welcome back to the X-Zone. Great having you with us again.
Oh, thank you, Rob. Good to be here.
Tell us about your new book, Bearth Trilogy, or Bearth Trilogy.
The Bearth actually started out as a movie. I wrote it in 2011, and it was an action-adventure story about an outsider president who runs his entire campaign on social media. And as luck would have it, the public becomes sick and tired of the one-party system that we have, and they start looking around for another candidate.
Yes.
And here's this guy running this campaign on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, which really, didn't exist all that much in 2011. Yeah. And as everyone who's written the screenplay knows, they just kind of sit there and gather dust. But in 2015, Donald Trump decided to run for president. And I said, well, I can't just let this screenplay sit here. So I turned the movie into a trilogy. It's about 1,100 pages altogether. Mm-hmm. But it is a total white-knuckle ride, action-adventure on the scale of Prometheus and Interstellar, and it's got science fiction, spirituality, and a chase scene every few pages throughout the trilogy. It's quite the story.
So tell me, Brooks, when are you going to add the word psychic to your credits? Because here you wrote this book, or the screenplay in 2011, that basically is a mirror image of what President Trump did.
Well, it's funny you should say that. I wrote the Arc of Millions of Years quad with my co-author back in the early 2000s, and a lot of that stuff that we put in those books came to pass. Weird weather anomalies, earthquakes, close passes from asteroids, all the stuff that came out of this study, and that was all nonfiction. So I don't know about the psychic part, but it was pretty uncanny how, we've never had an outsider really run for president and never have a chance. It is uncanny how the things that were in the book actually did come to pass in national politics. And to tell you the honest truth, it's kind of refreshing. It's kind of a gnarly kind of revolution that's just shaking up the whole establishment of politics in Washington. And we love it, really.
Well, I know, and, we up here in Canada wish that you guys would just take us over, make us the 52nd state. Because our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, is a flake. His claim to fame is, number one, his father was Pierre Elliott Trudeau, a former Prime Minister of Canada. His mother had an affair with Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones. Let me see. He's got a degree in poetry. And he said, hell, Canada will take all the immigrants that the United States doesn't want. So that's our claim to fame.
Well, other countries have a different political system than we do, in that you have a whole bunch of political parties, and it's actually possible to get elected with 25% of the vote. But here in this country, we have two private corporations called the Republicans and the Democrats, and they run the whole show.
Hey, Brooks, you and I are going to have to take a break here. Please stand by, my friend. Exo Nation. Brooks Agnew is our special guest. The website, x2radio.com. And Brooks can be heard every Sunday night at 8 p.m. And for all the information on his podcast, visit x2radio.com. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Hello, I'm Pete Marsh. With my daughter Justina, we will be presenting the new radio show, Too Good to Be True. If something seems too good to be true, it usually is. But with the help of Justina's amazing gifts, we're going to gain insight into questions that don't yet have complete answers. Have you wondered who built Stonehenge and for what reason? Why are crop circles found in the same region as Stonehenge and elsewhere? Are crop circles a hoax, or are they created with technologies that we have little knowledge of? Who built the pyramids in Egypt and also in other countries? How and why were they built? Was the Titanic switched with the Britannic as part of a gigantic insurance fraud, or for more insidious reasons? What caused the Tunguska event when trees were flattened over an 800 square mile area in Siberia? Will the new insights be too good to be true? Well, that will depend on what you are prepared to believe. Please join us as we start on this journey together. For more information on Too Good to Be True, visit www.xzbn.net.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Exonation, Brooks Andrew is our special... Brooks Agnew, I should say. I'm sorry. Andrew. Who's Brooks Andrew? Maybe he's the psychic. This is Brooks Agnew. And he has got a brand new trilogy out entitled Bearth Trilogy. And his website is www.x-squareradio.com. And you can listen to X Squared Radio every Sunday. He's been hosting that for 13 years now at 8 p.m. And once again, xsquaredradio.com. It seems the world is going to hell in a handbasket. We have the nuclear threat in Korea. We have ISIS and Afghanistan. And we still have unrest. We have Putin, who doesn't know what to do anymore because he can't figure out what's going on. We've got the United Kingdom breaking away from BRICS. And wait a minute, she just called a snap election. I've never seen a world in such disarray.
Well, you're absolutely right. The world leadership has been shaken up from the inside. For, I would say, the last 7 or 8 years anyway. There has been a concerted effort to export the Muslim Brotherhood into the free world, into what they call the West,
right?
Which is all of Europe, the United States, Canada, and even Mexico. And they've been pretty successful at it because the unrest, although they're trying to keep it to a minimum, is really starting to ramp up. And what has happened is some of the countries, like the United Kingdom and the United States, have rebelled against this invasion. And that's kind of how Trump really began his campaign. When he came down the escalator, everybody was going, oh, yeah, he's going to run again. Who really cares?
Yeah.
And he said something. He said something that caused everybody to look up from their servitude. He said, I'm going to build a wall, and I'm going to stop the invasion of the United States. And that kind of woke up about 35 million potential voters that had never voted before. Because, as I was saying before the break, you have these two private corporations called the Republicans and the Democrats. And inside these corporations, you have consortiums of 535 private companies that are running their own special interest group, their own insider trading companies. They come in worth a few $100,000, and within a few years, there were tens of millions of dollars. It's the best deal going. It's so good, in fact, that these guys will spend upwards of $8 to $10 million to get this job. And once they're in for life, unless they screw up and happen to put pictures of themselves on Twitter. But if they don't do that, they can be pretty much functionally illiterate for their entire lives. and really do nothing except trade stocks, knowing what they know about the bills that they're going to pass and how they're going to affect various industries. So what happened is the United States and the West, that is the United Kingdom, has rebelled against this takeover, this breakdown of states, we'll call them countries, the erasure of state lines, into these massive national conglomerates with no national identity, erasing all the tribes, erasing all the countries, the nationalities, into these giant zones, which are, they facilitate this breakdown by exporting Islam into those areas. And it's been a long, long process. And I cover this in the Bearth Trilogy. By the way, it's spelled Bearth. So it's Earth with a B in front of it. And what comes out in the book is the observation that there appears to be an ancient motivation, an ancient intelligence behind everything that's going on. And if you look at the world and all the egos that are trying to play one-upmanship, and they have for centuries, the actual pathway of world domination has not deviated much in about 700 years, which means there's some kind of deep underground ancient intelligence that is keeping everything on a straight path to capture the entire human race. And I honestly think that the Founding Fathers, back in 1776, saw the future and decided, or read about the future in all these writings, and they decided to change timelines and establish something that has never been established before in the history of the world, a nation built on freedom, a nation that had a government that existed at the will of the people. And of course, they almost immediately started to subvert it. And after, 84 years after Roosevelt was elected, they've almost succeeded. But now we're awake and we can see what's going on, and hopefully we can stop it.
Tell me, in your opinion, why is it the pollsters got the results of the 2016 election so wrong?
Well, you happen to ask a statistician, so I'll tell you why this happened. It's because the pollsters all are calling demographic samples. And demographic samples are at the end of a curly cord, which we now call a landline. And when I did a demographic study on who actually owns landlines, I found they were all over the age of 50. Most of them owned their own home for more than 10 years. And they got all of their news from satellite and cable TV. But that is not what America was. From 2012 to 2016, America changed. Now, fewer people have landlines than ever before. Most people have cell phones. In fact, from 2012 to 2016, the cell phone became a smartphone, giving people access to news, to talk radio programs like yours, to all kinds of fresh, unscripted newspapers. And people began to become informed. And what I found when I ran my sampling is that 78% of the people that have smartphones and no landlines were Trump voters. And they were motivated, and they were active. The second thing I looked at was Twitter accounts. Hillary's camp had about 65 million Twitter followers. However, 50% of her Twitter traffic was negative. Trump had almost 100 million Twitter followers, and over 90% of his traffic was positive. And so that's why I think that the poll takers missed it. They were calling people with landlines, and voters were the ones with smartphones.
Mr. Trump has made no mistake about it that he believes that the news is fake. He calls it fake news. Being a statistician, being a member of the media yourself, how do you take that?
Well, there is a fake stream news, and it is this corporate mogul news that's owned by these 6 billionaires that have basically bought up all the AM stations, all the TV stations, and they feed what we see as what used to be called the mainstream news. We now call it the fake stream news. Because really, now, you, Rob McConnell, and X-Zone Radio, and all of the other radio stations that are out here, we've blossomed because we are the mainstream news. We're the ones the mainstream are listening to. The fake stream, the people who rely on government for their daily bread, they're being fed by this conglomerate of 6 media moguls. And if you really want to see how successful or how unsuccessful they are becoming, look at the career of people like Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, apparently he's out now.
Yep. He is out as of today.
Yep.
And, he's Murdoch's boy. I mean, Murdoch is one of the 6 conglomerate owners. And they have unceremoniously said, stay in Italy, don't come home. That's what's happening to corporate media. They are losing advertisers by, large percentages. 40, 50% of their advertising has left them. And they're looking for programs like yours, like mine, other networks that are out there, because we are the networks that people are listening to for real news, for real straight opinion.
That's because we can't be bought. We have morals. We have ethics. We're professionals. We cannot be bought.
That's right. We don't receive a fax every morning that says, here are the 6 bullet points and the exact phrasing that you will use throughout the day. All of your hosts will use these phrases. We don't do that.
No.
We create our own mind.
And if there's listeners out there who think, oh, come on, Brooks can't be serious. As the executive producer for a major talk radio show network in Ontario, before I split, he is right. We used to get the sheets every morning, and every host got their sheets, and it's scripted. It's a basic script.
That's right. The catchphrases are all pre-marketed and pre-tested, pre-floated. And so when you hear words, and these are trigger words in this business, when you hear words like bipartisan, or you hear words like comprehensive, you know you're being scripted. You know you're being led down a corporate pathway. That's why you'll never hear Rob or me use words like that.
Yeah. And if you really want to see what scripted media is like, just watch CNN. They say the same thing hour after hour after hour after hour with different talk show hosts. Like, I've never seen so much negativity in all my life than there is on CNN.
Well, it is now, not really the Clinton News Network anymore. It's now the anti-Trump network.
Yeah.
That's why all you see on the alphabet soup networks is hatred all day long. All you see is hatred. And then you hear them say, since everybody hates Trump, since this is the most unpopular president ever, his popularity's got to be slipping. Well, it's not. He's over 50%. He has 151 million supporters, and 65 million of them are registered voters.
What I couldn't understand,
I'm
I'm sorry, Brooks, what I couldn't understand, and we've got to go to a break very shortly, is why the media put down President Trump trying to work things out with Putin. The 2 major powers in the world, why not work together instead of against each other?
Well, I think he was open-minded to it. Mm-hmm. And I think Putin has kind of worked himself into what used to be the Cold War
mentality
pathway, always taking the opposite side of the United States to try to wear the United States down. That Cold War mentality has got himself into a corner. And it's Russian. I know a lot of Russian people. I do business with a lot of Russian companies as an electric car company. Sure. And they're pushing for a change. They want someone other than Putin to run their country now.
Listen, you and I have got to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Great talking to you again. Congratulations on your Bearth Trilogy. Exo Nation, www.x2radio.com. And the Bearth Trilogy is Bearth, I guess this is the book 1. 2 Earths, 1 Race for Time. Bearth 2, The Grand Division. And Bearth 3, The Gathering of Lolam. We'll ask Brooke what
Leolam.
Lalam. Well, we'll ask Brooke on the other side of this break what this all means. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Brooks Agnew when I return. Don't go away.
Dreams are our personal gateways into infinite wisdom. Don't miss shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Corcoran's inspiring book, Shamanic Awakening Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles Sandra's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers and her initiations throughout the Americas and across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt. Sandy's knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private tarot readings, international journeys, a meditative CD, as well as her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate this earth walk, creating a deeper connection to yourself and all that is. Find this and more at Sandy's website, starwalkervisions.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Hello, I'm Justina Marsh, and with my dad Pete, we are going to present a new show called Too Good to Be True. Together, we are aiming to discover more truths about this world and beyond. Do you have unanswered questions about the world? Do you ever wonder about aliens, conspiracy theories, or the universe? There are many shows discussing subjects such as pyramids or UFOs, but we want to relay this information based on our own research, including from spiritual means. Hopefully, listeners will be helped with their own beliefs and will appreciate the psychic insights that add to the previous research and information. We both look forward to sharing this insight and beginning this journey with our listeners. Visit xzbn.net for more information about when to listen.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Brooks Agnew is our special guest. He is an author. He is the CEO of an electric truck manufacturing company in North Carolina. And he's also a best-selling author with Amazon. And, of course, he is the host of X Squared Radio for the past 13 years. That podcast every Sunday night at 8 p.m. His website is www.xsquaredradio.com. Let's talk about the Bearth trilogy. Bearth 1, I would imagine, is 2 Earths, 1 Race for Time. Bearth 2 is the Grand Division. And Bearth 3, the Gathering of Lolam.
It's the gathering, and then the word is leolam. It's Hebrew. It means for worlds.
Ah, okay. So tell me about 2 Earths, 1.
The idea comes from ancient civilizations believed that planet Earth was actually formed out of 2 types of matter, one higher vibrational called spirit matter, one lower vibrational called temporal matter, much like the human body, where we're mass, and then we're also the spirit that animates the body on the inside. The Earth is the same way. And the prophecy that lays into these 40 major ancient civilizations that we studied for the Ark of Millions of Years series all believe that someday the 2 Earths are going to come apart. That is to say, the spirit Earth and the higher vibrational Earth is going to separate from the lower vibrational or temporal Earth, and it's going to head back through the rift in the Milky Way to the origin that it came from. Well, that became a perfect setting for a giant big screen science fiction movie where we actually see not only the 2 Earths coming apart, but the race of mankind coming apart. And so the second book, The Grand Division, and this is all taking place with 15 fictional characters that are walking through real events that happened in news. And so you're getting to see these events from their viewpoint, just like you would in a movie. So you have, for instance, Deepwater Horizon occurs because there are these giant waves that go coursing across the Gulf of Mexico, and they literally rip this state-of-the-art drill rig off its moorings and break the pipe and cause it to explode. And the odd thing about this event is it was a tragedy, but it appears to have been no accident because the investors that owned Deepwater Horizon made multi-billion-dollar financial moves days, sometimes even hours, before this event happened with Deepwater Horizon. They knew something was up. So I wove it into the book. And the more events that I studied, going from the crash of 1929 through World War II, through all of the gyrations that we see today in global politics, what we see is that this force of evil has been trying to capture all of the race of mankind for a long, long time. But mankind, at least the higher vibrational mankind, has been resisting that. And now, at the end, what's happening is the race of mankind is beginning to separate, and they're beginning to gather together as groups, higher vibrational man and lower vibrational man. In the book, we call them the seed of Lucifer and the seed of Adam. And they do battle in an epic way in the book.
Well, it seems that this is the old story that is told in the Bible, good versus evil.
Well, the Bible is certainly part of the story. It's a small part of the story, but there are other books. The Kabbalah, the Sefer Yetzirah, the Popol Vuh, writings in Sanskrit. It all talks about these 2 forces that, oddly enough, have been fighting each other since humans have been on this planet. And they fight in different ways. At first, they fought with grand weapons that literally cracked the planet open and sunk continents. Well, that didn't work. So then they tried other ways until they mastered this system of alchemy that we're using today. Today, we don't use gold or silver. We converted over to something even more worthless, paper. And now we're trying to be forced into something that's even more worthless than paper. Little ones and zeros that are created out of nothing. And they're being used to control the whole world. Less than 100 families control over 80% of the world's wealth right now. They've almost captured the entire planet. I kind of liken it to 10 card players playing cards at a table. And as time goes on, what happens is one by one the card players drop out until nobody can ante up. So they all look up from their green visors and say, wait a minute, somebody at this table should have a big pile of chips. But everyone's broke. Everybody at the table is broke. So you have to wonder, where did all the money go? Well, it evaporated. It was taken by the banker. And the banks have literally captured every single nation on earth hopelessly in debt.
Is there a way out of it?
Yes, there is. There is a way out of it. What mankind is going to realize very soon is that the value in our global system does not exist in the form of money. Money is just a system of exchange. The real value exists in your hands when you turn over the soil or weld two pieces of metal together or write something. That's the value. And it's delivered to somebody else who consumes that food or drives that car or reads that book. That's the real value. The system of exchange in the middle, which is being controlled by the banks, is actually worthless. And as soon as we realize that, the system will fall apart and the control that has been saddled over humankind will go away.
One of the major stories in the news these days is North Korea. And North Korea is saying, hey, thermonuclear war can happen at any moment. Do you think that'll happen?
Well, not in the classic sense. And here's what I mean. For the last dozen years or so, the United States, representative of the West, has been prepared. It's been prepared by dividing up our country, ideologically, by color, by religion, by economic status. And we put the police in between these groups and said, right now, you can't fight each other. But all it will take, really, is a couple of electromagnetic pulse weapons. These are pretty simple, pretty crude weapons, and the Koreans happen to be very, very good at making these microelectronic weapons. If they were to blow two of these up, say 12 miles to 300 miles above the United States, the lights would effectively go out for about 36 hours. Rudimentary power would come back in about 36 hours. But you're basically saying to law enforcement, stay home. And when that happens, the cities will go at war with themselves internally. And I don't know if the United States can recover from that or not. The bombs themselves won't actually kill anyone. But by the time all the food is gone, all the drugs spoil, all the hospital lights go out, and all the police are powerless to stop what's going on, I don't know that the United States will recover in 50 years from it. It will effectively take liberty and freedom off the face of the earth, and once it's gone, I doubt it will ever come back. That's their plan. And I think Korea is a useful stooge in a grand plan, which, let's just call it ISIS, the grandest marketing plan for war ever devised.
So if you have an electromagnetic pulse, you have no more electricity, you have no more electronics. What are the kids going to do without their iPhones?
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah. We have become an electronic society. And when you're generating 50,000 volts per linear meter of wire, you can literally take out all the microelectronics, anything that's got more than a meter of wire before it, which is the wiring in your house. It'll jump every switch you have. If your TV is not unplugged, it will fry your television. My God, Rob, what are houses going to do without a TV? I mean, we're going to be poured into the streets in insanity.
It's either that or a lot of people are going to do something called reading again.
Yeah, well, I hope so. But there are a lot of us out here that, you know, we're kind of a little nuclear reactor ourselves.
Right.
And if we don't take regular medication,
yeah,
you know, we're going to pop a vein and die.
The stress level is high now with most people without electricity, and if the damage that can be caused by an electromagnetic pulse, you know, this will push many people over the side.
I just can't fathom the idea of having to go to bed with the chicken.
You know, speaking about the world, you know, I never thought I'd see the day when humans went to battle with the weather. You know, what's going on with the science of climate change? And according to President Trump, there is nothing wrong with the climate. How do we justify that when we see all the problems that we're having with the climate? And a president who is saying, well, there's nothing wrong with the climate. There's no such thing as climate change.
Well, that's not exactly true. What is being said officially from the administration is, of course, the climate's changing. It's always changing. I mean, if you really want fake news, it's got to be the weather, right?
True.
But mankind has nothing to do with the weather. And to say that we can go out with our lances and our harps and our chemtrails and we could do battle with the weather is the real insanity. But I don't think that's the purpose of it at all. The purpose behind Al Gore and the purpose behind, you know, everything that was going on with the litigation and legislation that Obama was putting out was about global control. It was about global taxes. It was trying to create a revenue stream that could fund a weather army.
So they were looking at this as a cash cow, a way to make money?
Not just that, but they could say, for instance, they could tell Malaysia, you stop cutting your rainforest down or we'll stop trading with you. So it becomes this blackmail, this arm of blackmail of, I'm going to call it econo-terrorism, where you're using the economy as a weapon, as a sanctioned weapon against every other nation in the world to control them. And that's what it was ultimately about. The climate is changing, but the climate's changing on every planet in the solar system, and mankind has nothing to do with it. I'm not saying we don't pollute,
right?
But we're not changing the temperature on the planet at all. That's being changed by the sun.
All right, stand by. Brooks, you and I have to take our final break. Exo Nation, Brooks Agnew is our special guest. He is the host of X Squared Radio, and you can listen to Brooks every Sunday night at 8 p.m. at www.xsquaredradio.com. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, send me your emails. Tell me what you think. Is there a special topic you'd like us to cover? Is there a special guest you'd like us to have on the show? One email address does it all. xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A Soul Balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world. There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the 4 corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Brooks Agnew is our guest to this hour. Here's a couple of websites, www.xsquaredradio.com and bearthtrilogy.com. That's BEARTH trilogy.com. These, like I said before, these are crazy. These are very crazy times. What do you think is the most bizarre yet most important thing that the world, the planet, is now facing?
Well, I think the one thing that we're realizing is that we can instantly communicate and instantly transfer information around the planet. And it makes it pretty difficult for the people of a country to be held in ignorance. Now, you do have countries like North Korea that block any kind of Western influence from coming into their country. You have the Great Firewall of China preventing its people from gaining access to free press like ours. But that is slowly changing. I should say it's rapidly changing. And when you're talking about global domination, what you really have to do is control information. And there have been some efforts made to try to do that. But I really think that the internet has changed the world forever. I think the ability to overcome yellow journalism, the ability to overcome corporate news is now really coming of age. And I think that people are becoming more intelligent when it comes to this. However, I do see the evidence that generally people are becoming more lazy. That is to say, well, I won't say there's a shortage of entrepreneurs. That's not the case at all. What has happened is a series of legislative moves that have been made to vacuum up capital out of the market. For instance, in the United States, in the last 10 years, we've lost about 70,000 employers. And that's not through any shortage of great ideas. There are a lot of great ideas, but the ideas cannot come to the marketplace because in 1933, Roosevelt openly and with the support of the public set up a fascist government. He said it was fascist. He made no bones about it. It was designed to provide a safety net for all the people of the United States. And that's been in place now for 84 years. And in that 84 years, the few agencies that he started have now blossomed to more than 650 federal agencies.
Wow.
And they pretty much control every aspect of our life. Over 24 million federal employees. 24 million. And what a lot of people don't know about fascism, they call Trump a fascist. They're crazy. Fascism is designed by corporations that become so entrenched with government that they use government to prevent competition against them. So the oil companies control the EPA. The drug companies control the pharmaceutical companies control the FDA. The teachers union controls the education department. And this is the way it works. And what they use is their power to write law and to assess taxes and to take police actions and enforcement actions against competitors in order to keep themselves in business. And that is what we're rebelling against right now. That's what the EU is rebelling against right now. That's why the UK left the EU, because they were tired of Brussels telling them what they could eat, telling them what they could advertise, pumping immigrants, that had no skills and no ability to read or write into their neighborhoods. We're tired of that too in our country. Washington has been ruling this country for the last 84 years. And now they've become so open and so blatant about it that when Congress, the people's representatives, call the offenders into their committees and say, tell us what you mean when you're doing this to us. And they throw a bunch of blank papers at the committee chairman. They take the fifth and they refuse to testify. Sometimes they refuse to even show up with a subpoena.
Wow.
And Congress has shown they can do absolutely nothing about it. Whether it's Lois Lerner, Susan Rice, Ben Rhodes, Valerie Jarrett, it doesn't matter. Congress is powerless to stop them. That is fascism. And that's what we're rebelling against. And I think that the freedom of information that we have on your program, my program, and hundreds of others like it around the country are having its effect. We're beginning to break the fascists' hold on this country.
That's because people like yourself and myself believe that if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
And we believe that silence is consent.
Exactly.
So we lift our voices and say what's happening. And it really drives me crazy when somebody in a black uniform with a black mask and their fists balled up yells at the camera that our government that our leader, our president, is fascist. They are the ones that are fascist. They're acting like fascists. They're fascist soldiers. They're designed to suppress innovation.
You know, I watched a movie yesterday for a short while I was having my supper, and it was about Muhammad Ali when he was fighting his case that he shouldn't go to war to fight for the United States because in the Quran it says that you shouldn't go to war. And I'm saying, well, there's something very wrong with a society that actually, you know, adheres to that and says, all right, just because you're a member of a religious sect, that excuses you from going to fight for your country. And then I was talking to another person the other day who said, you know, where most of the people are, what do you call it when you go from one religion to another?
Well, you apostatize.
Right. Where people convert to Islam is? In our jails. In our jails.
Yeah, sure.
You know, so you've got all these criminals who are being recruited, and my God, doesn't anybody ever think of this? Or are you not allowed to talk about that?
You make an interesting observation, because we attach words to Islam like fundamental or moderate or radical or whatever, but there are really only three types of Muslims. There are the Muslims that cut off heads and stone people and burn people alive and drown people. Then there are the Muslims that don't say anything about that will sit back and just let that happen. And then there are the others who fund it. And that's the three types of Muslims that there are. If you really want to step back and look at it, the radicals are the ones that come to this country, take their hijab and their burqa off, drink beer, and maybe have a ham sandwich or a pepperoni pizza from time to time. Those are the radicals. The moderates, the fundamentalists, are the ones that are actually committing jihad against the rest of the world. And if you really want to keep up with the news, there are 14 countries every single week that are attacked by the religion of peace. Hundreds and hundreds of people lose their lives, and hundreds of innocent people are injured every single week. Since 9/11, there have been over 225,000 innocent people killed by jihad around the world. That's a lot.
It sure is. It sure is.
And these aren't warriors. These are little kids. Mm-hmm. These are people on city buses, or sitting at a restaurant, or sitting in an unemployment line, just blown up, run over by a truck, stabbed, shot. Unbelievable mayhem. And this is Islam. This is Islam.
Do you think that the present security systems in place by Homeland Security, as well as other federal agencies, can actually detect and deter and stop these kind of people from coming into the United States?
They could, but they are prevented from doing so by statute.
Isn't it time to change the statutes?
I don't think it would be politically correct. You would have to profile people just like they do in the Middle East in order to enforce it. And I don't think our society is ready to do that.
Well, will it take another 9/11?
It may take a few of them. But I think, this is their plan, and they've been working at it for 1,400 years.
That's right.
They never give up. And, a lot of people don't realize this, but in 1778, we went to war with these guys. We mounted our Navy. We loaded up the ship with the best sword fighters we had. We called them Marines. We let them wear leather collars so they wouldn't get their heads chopped off. That's where the name Leatherneck came from. And they sailed all the way to Tripoli, and they defeated them so they would stop robbing our merchant ships. Those were Muslims, and we have been fighting them ever since 1778.
Hey, Brooks,
We've gone to war with them several times.
Brooks, I hate to do this, my friend, but you and I have run out of time for tonight. I want to congratulate you on all the great work that you're doing. Keep it up. And Exonation, if you'd like to listen to more from Brooks, visit his website, xsquaredradio.com. Brooks, don't be a stranger. Look forward to the next time you're back with us.
I will. Thanks, Rob, very much.
Take care, my friend. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.